Again, Chad, thank you a ton for hopping on today. And I've been so freaking happy to see the level of progress that you have made inside of Agency Inner Circle in less than 6 months. You went from 18K a month to now, what was your last 30 day again?
He's 202.
$202,000 in the last 30 days. And you did that in less than 6 months inside of the Inner Circle program. So I want to ask just a couple of questions, get an understanding of what was it that changed for you? What are the things that worked? And then what advice you'd give to others who were in your shoes. But circling back to that 18K a month mark, what were the day-to-day frustrations that you were typically facing in that place?
Low close rate. Couldn't close.
What were the usual objections that people were throwing at you?
It was always trust.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
They would tell me like, okay, well, just gotta wait a few days till I collect my next check. Got a job closing out, but as soon as this one's out, we're gonna move forward. We like the program. A few days later, silence, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I didn't dig deeper into it. I didn't do Sibber. Sibber helps. You understand if they don't trust you. So
Yeah. That's huge. What was it like running an 18K a month agency? What were the day-to-day emotions that you felt? What was that? What was it like being in that spot and being stuck there?
um I remember wanting to grow. I was in that like 18 to 20, I think $25,000 a month range. So somewhere in between there for like a couple months. I was like, damn, I hit a little plateau after 2 months of being there. And I was like, all right, well, I need to grow. So how do I grow? And as soon as I just thought about it, I was like, all right, well, I did the math. Holy shit, if I want to hit my goal, I need 400 clients. So I was like, first off, I got to get better at sales so I can close like a client a day, which we're doing now. We close sometimes two a day now,
Wow, man.
and different model.
Yeah.
So
We'll dive
adopted
deeper
a
in.
different.
Yeah, we'll dive deeper into that, but you mentioned that you had your goal and you needed to hit 400 clients. What was that goal?
It was like 1 million a month, and I wanted to do 1 mil a month. So I was charging like a $2,500 retainer.
Hmm.
Um, so it was like 400 clients.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, you need 400 clients for this.
Well, I know the I want to circle back to the model thing here in just a second because that was one of the biggest changes that you made that like you skyrocketed after that when you changed your pricing and your model. Um, but what would you say was the first big shift you made once you started an agency inner circle?
It would probably be doing Civer.
When you say Sivver, for the people who don't know what Sivver is, what is Sivver?
So you got to clarify what the objection is. Like as soon as they give you an objection, like clarifying it, or isolating it to make sure it's really that. You agree with them a bit, but don't validate it completely, and then you reframe.
And then obviously, like that's stuff that we go a lot deeper into on the actual mentorship calls. But when you started making those changes, what was the thing that you started to notice when you started to dig deeper into those objections and you reframed? What was that first couple of months where you were implementing that? What happened?
First couple of months, like it didn't work, and then I had to like detach from the stuff, and I kind of had to just like make a bit more money to know like okay, well, who cares if you sell them or not?
Hmm. What do you mean by
Once
that?
I did that, just detach from the sell, like just not really care.
One of the things I remember the most is that when you were on the calls, I would almost tease you a little bit, just because of how like so clearly leaned in you were into the sale. And then like once we did that 25-25 exercise, it was a night and day difference after that. It was really, really great. And that's the thing is detaching from the sale is something that's so much easier said than done for many people. Like everyone hears a sales guru and it's like, oh, you got to detach from the sale. Other agency owners saying you have to do that, but you were able to actually do that. I mean, you had the practical steps. You were actually able to detach from the sale when you had a clear step-by-step process on how to do that, right?
Yeah, 100%. There's also a lot of like just thinking that goes behind it. You gotta like
Like
understand
what?
it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah, what were some of the things that you discovered and you worked through yourself in order to get to that place?
Well, I mean, first I made money. You also got to realize like it just doesn't matter. Because I've seen every call as like, hey, even if I don't close them, I'm still trying and I'm getting better. And some people genuinely are not a good fit. So
When you came in, you didn't have immediate growth. Right. I mean, you kind of stayed stuck in that spot for your first month or two when we came in because most of our focus was on cleaning up your show rate because your show rate was also pretty shit. Right. And I think we brought that from something like 20 to 30% up to the 80s, if I'm remembering correctly. What was the biggest shift in strategy you made in terms of show rate so that you could increase your call volume and start implementing the close rate stuff we talked about and again, really start making more money?
I mean, like, remember we had that call where we kind of went over my intros. You were like, just listen to how it sounds. Like, I don't know what it was, but you kind of just went like, just listen to how it sounds. It kind of had to do with that attachment and detachment
Mhm.
thing. We got that fixed, and voila, more people show up.
You mentioned your model. I think that was in the entire 6 months the biggest shift. When you started switching your model, now instead of trying to close everyone on a 2,500 a month retainer, which again, I mean, you would need hundreds of clients in order to hit your goal, and it would take you quite a long time, and everyone out there is selling a retainer. Would you be open to sharing just a little bit of what you changed in terms of your pricing model that caused such an uptick?
Yeah, so doing pay per lead where you sell lead packages, it's really the big game changer. Instead of selling a retainer, you're selling inventory. And you actually get to use it like in your marketing. Like, hey, we don't do retainers. Or like you also get to
Yep.
use it in your sell. Like, the company gave you a retainer. And we're just gonna have you pay for the leads you get.
Yeah.
And then you add your benefits on top. So like whatever benefits you have, you could add those on top. Telling them, yeah, it's just pay per lead. You buy this many up front. After that, it's as you go. Or
Yeah.
you could just buy, sell them another package. Thing is, you have to get them good results, and they turn into a lot of money.
Yeah.
Someone buying packages that big, they will produce
Up to this point, what's the highest amount of cash you collected upfront for a client?
33,000.
$33,000. Good freaking work, my man. That's what I'm talking about. Now, once you hit $200,000 a month, and if you're closing $33,000 deals, it's not too hard. Once you hit $200,000 a month, what would you say was the biggest thing that changed for you?
Work has changed. Like working is different because now you have people doing a lot of stuff for you. Not that I'm like fully out of the business. I still do a lot and I want to keep it that way until like I'm really, really able to have everything delegated. But like I don't do low leverage stuff anymore. Everything I do is higher leverage now. I have people doing all this stuff for me that I would have otherwise had to do at 20K a month.
Most agency owners that I speak to that are at that 10 to 20K a month mark, they're overcomplicating the process. Right? Like they're trying to build out that $200,000 a month team while they're still at 10K a month, and they think that having that team is going to be the thing that gets them there. When in reality, all they end up doing is add a lot of complexity, liability, and overhead. And then when they close, say, $20,000, they're in the red, right? And business becomes miserable. What does your team structure look like right now? And then when did you start hiring those people? At what revenue marks?
Yeah, so we have a lot of B2C people, so they handle our fulfillment. We got to 20K a month with zero of them. It was just me. Or maybe we had a media buyer. I'll say that. He ran our clients'
Yeah.
ads. That's all we had. And I kind of hired him at like 15.
Yeah.
So we currently have five of them right now.
Okay, when you say B2C person, what specifically are their roles?
Like media buying, making sure the leads are good, lead qualifying, stuff like that.
So
So
these
just like,
aren't like client success managers.
no,
Okay. So do you have any CSMs?
no.
Okay, why not?
Clients love us too.
Hmm.
I still talk to my clients. I think talking to your customers is the number one most important thing, man. If you're any business and you think the head of the business not knowing what his customers think about the product, it's gonna fly. Because like every time something gets communicated, it loses a little bit of its, thing because someone's passing it on to someone else, someone else. It loses
Mhm.
chunks every time. You want
Yep.
direct to the source. So talking to your customers will never be low leverage. I don't think ever.
So you've got five people on your team right now. I love that, by the way. You've got five people on your team. A lot of these people on your team are B2C fulfillment back-end work, right? Media buying, things like that. What about your sales team? I mean, you made it to 200K. Let me guess, you had to have a team of five closers and six setters, right?
No, I have one setter. I'm still
One
closing.
setter, and you
I'm
made it
gonna get
all
a
to
closer soon.
200K, man. How far did you get before you brought that setter on board?
60 or 70, something like that.
I think you were at 75 if I remember correctly. What percentage of your week were you devoting to sales, devoting to talking to your clients, et cetera, in order to still have so many happy clients and make over 200 grand a month?
Most of it was sales. I would say work-wise, I don't know how many hours I was working because I didn't really track that, but um, let's just say it was most of my day every day though. Like 80% of it was sales, had a lot of demos.
80% of that time is just devoted to sales, and then the other 20% is reaching out to your clients, seeing how they're feeling, and just overseeing your BD buying team.
Yeah, well, I still do B2B ads. So a little bit of time on that. I like just writing ads and stuff.
Very streamlined and simple way of scaling. So, if someone is on the fence about
Yeah.
potentially joining Agency Inner Circle, and they're like, you know what, I've been looking for some sales help. I know that my close rates, between 10, 15, maybe even 20 to 25%, but I know that I'm capable of more and I want to start collecting more cash up front. I want to start collecting $30,000 deals. What would you share with them, someone who's on the fence about joining this program?
Don't be on the fence. Just make a decision. Stop waiting. Dude, if your close rate sucks, then yeah, he can help you. If you're not good at closing and you're on the fence, stop wasting your time. Just do something.
Is there any other piece of value or any other thing that you want to share about your journey that you wish other agency owners would know?
You gotta join the program for that. But for sales help, if you're not already in like the school group, join that because it's $1.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day in order to share this. Obviously, for you guys that are watching this, if you guys want to apply to join the community, it is a private mentorship, not a large group coaching program, so there are very limited spots. The application link is in the description and pinned in the comments. If you want to join Agency World, the school community, for $1 for lifetime access, while it's still a dollar, again, the link is in the description or in the comments. Otherwise, again, thank you, Chad, for hopping on board, and let's rock and roll and make some money. Bah! All right.
That's good.